Now for the information of all hands.
Welcome to episode 11 of the 1MC with Master Chief Jason Vanderhayden. I'm your host, Chief Crystal Lenine, and today is our last podcast with MCPOG 13. And as a final podcast with this team, we have a very special guest, Prospective Master Chief Petty Officer of the Coast Guard, Heath Jones. Master Chief Vanderhayden, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Chief. Well, it's an exciting day. This is. I appreciate everybody listening and giving me feedback. A lot of you send me notes and give me ideas and feedback, and I want to thank everybody. It is awesome to have Master Chief Jones here. I am super excited for not just him, but the entire Coast Guard. Master Chief Jones is a proven leader. He's dedicated. He's just an awesome guy. And I think in about a month they'll be going, Vanderhayden who? So anyway, I am thrilled to have Master Chief Jones here. And we get to listen to his take and his perspective on the Chief's Mess and on leadership in general, and learn a little about him. So, Master Chief Jones, welcome. I'm glad you're here. Could you start us off by telling us a little bit about yourself? Maybe your background, where you've served, and your family, and tell us. A lot of people know you. You're pretty famous. You've been around a lot, but give us an idea. Those people that don't know you, can you tell us about yourself?
Yeah, thanks very much. So first of all, I want to echo and say thank you. I'm equally as excited to be here. This is it's an exciting time for us, exciting time for the family. Quite honestly, it's an exciting time for the Coast Guard. But I guess to answer your question, and I'm still trying to kind of get over that Vanderhayden who thing, because that's not going to happen. This summer I'll reach my 27-year mark. Bosun mate by trade. I've served on river tenders, patrol boats, small boat stations. Then a silver badge at a sector, and then a district tour, an area tour, and then now at DCMS. Kind of been following the Vanderhayden footprint unintentionally, but it's worked out kind of cool, right?
It does give you good experience.
Yes, it does.
Yep.
But yes, I'm born and raised in South Louisiana. My wife Carol is she works for a company, National Plant and Floral. They do floral designs for trade shows around the country. Used to be a teacher as well. We have two kids. Our son is in his second year of grad school at University of New Orleans, studying film and media arts, and our daughter is in her first year of med school at LSU Med New Orleans. I always told them growing up, Mom and Dad will educate you. We'll pay for your education as long as you're doing your job. I assumed one of them was going to take the dad route and join the military. They both had to be as brilliant as their mom, so we're very proud of them now.
You do have two brilliant kids, and they are awesome. And if you ever see Master Chief Jones in civilian clothes, you'll know it's him, because he will definitely be wearing purple and yellow. You can almost guarantee that. Avid LSU fan. You are one of the nicest, most down to earth, easy to talk to folks, and you're an award-winning person for leadership. You've won leadership awards, and I'm just super excited for you to take over the office, and I know you're going to do great things, and I'm really excited. So, welcome aboard. So, speaking of leadership, can you share with us kind of, what do you, what's your ideal leader? Leadership. Everybody's got their definitions of leadership. I know you've been in command multiple times, so you've probably had a command philosophy, which somewhat is like a leadership philosophy. What is, if you wanted to share some thoughts on your ideas about leadership and what you expect from your leaders, and maybe kind of how would you define leadership and what you would look for?
Okay, yeah, no, thanks. It's leadership to me is something that is a constant pursuit of perfection that we will never attain perfection. But if we aim for perfection, the result will be excellence, and so that's why we need to aim for that perfection. Leadership to me, it's one of the most simple concepts in the world, but it's one of the most difficult concepts in the world. Leadership is about empowerment first and foremost. To me, the best leaders that I've seen and tried to mold myself after empower their people to succeed. It's about giving confidence to those that you serve. Most folks grew up at some part in their life being part of a team of some sort. And I think and Admiral Thomas will probably laugh when he hears this, because I'm stealing some of this from him. Don't tell him. In any team thing you've ever done growing up in life, no matter what, you perform better as part of that team when you felt like you were part of that team. You felt comfortable, and you felt like your teammates and your coaches had confidence in you. So that's what a leader's job is, to instill confidence in our people. And then another thing that, and Admiral Thomas says this a lot, so I'm stealing from him again, but there's kind of three ways of leadership. There's leading up, down, and across. And the leading down part, and the military is it's a simplistic structure. You outrank someone, you have a positional power over them, you lead them, but there's a way to do it right and a way to do it wrong. The leading up piece as positions, and I'm looking at YN2 here and Chief, and they lead up to you. They give you honest feedback to help you shape workforce things. So you have to be able to lead up. We lead up to the admirals, and the leading across is where it's the most difficult. And that kind of gets into some of the chief's mess things. Is leading your peers in the chief's mess is vital, and being able to lead across a room of people that don't have any positional reason to have to listen to what you say, but you can influence that room to think a certain way. That's leadership across.
Yeah, that's awesome. I really like the empowerment. When people feel empowered, they will try harder and work harder, and then giving them confidence. Tell them why they're important. Because I know you, I'm going to throw another word out there that I know is important to you, and I think it's something you've talked to me about. Something that you want to work on is trust, and people trusting leadership, and then leadership trusting the people, and building trust in the workforce. Can you talk a little bit about how you will talk about trust and building trust going forward?
Thank you, and thank you for that, because that's very important to me.
Yeah.
And look, and where we got to this focus on trust with me is what our workforce has been through. Look at what our world has been through in the last 3 years. And the reason I kind of single the workforce out first is because the whole world's dealt with a pandemic for a little over 2 years. Go back a year before that, something tells me when you were sitting here 4 years ago, you didn't think you were going to be leading the first military workforce to never receive a paycheck, right?
Right.
So our workforce dealt with that. The COVID-19 pandemic has just created a lot of angst, a lot of confusion. Some of the civil unrest that we went through a year ago, a lot of learning, just a lot of very personal hot topic items. And I think if you look across America, there's a general kind of just lack of trust in authority nowadays, and our workforce is no different than that. And the trust piece to me is so vital, because if a person feels empowered, they feel trusted, they feel respected, they feel like they're part of a team, they're going to stay with the organization.
Yep. And
we've got to do that. Now, and the key part is people don't always need to get their way for that trust thing. They just need to understand. And our workforce, and I learned this through the shutdown and through the pandemic, our workforce will run through a brick wall for us and achieve great things. They just want to know why they're running through the brick wall. And if we can maybe tell them what's on the other side of the brick wall, they don't question it. So we need to be that organization that gives our members the why behind the what. We talk all the time, and we tout that we have the smartest workforce in history, and we do. Let's treat them that way. Let's take the time as leaders to stop and give them the why behind the what.
I tell you, the why is critical to building trust, and I like that. So that being said, as you take over the reins, this is obviously my last podcast. What are some of the ways that you are going to look to get the why? I know you'll probably continue to do social media. That's a pretty easy way to communicate. Do you see yourself doing podcasts or
Absolutely.
any other things? Yeah,
absolutely.
I tell you, communications is in the Coast Guard is hard. We've got message traffic, we've got emails, we've got social media, we've got all my CG, we've got all these communication platforms, but it still seems very difficult to get the word out sometimes. Any ideas or anything new you want to share with the audience, that maybe things that you'll be working on to communicate and be able to get that why to them?
So, y'all can't see us, but I'm staring at Chief Neen right now, because I rely on experts like her and Chief Disco to be the smart ones in this. But honestly, there's nothing that I would rule out as an avenue to try to communicate. At the end of the day, it's about the third-class petty officer at a faraway unit understanding the information that we're trying to transmit across the organization.
Yeah.
And we have to keep pursuing those ways. If you think back, this was probably before you were at PAC, because probably before I was in the C-Cell program. The only way we communicate as an organization was through all coasts. And some of us are old enough to remember the old green screen where you had to sit down there and do the message log. We know that didn't translate. So what I want the workforce to know is that from this headquarters building, we are trying. I didn't realize how hard we were trying until I came to headquarters, how we're trying to communicate out to the workforce in different ways. And what I'm asking the workforce's help is, if these ways we're trying aren't working, if there's a better way, give us that feedback, because we owe you answers, we owe you comms, we owe you information, and we're going to keep doing everything that y'all have done, and we're going to try new things. If I knew the magic answer and I hadn't given it to you by now, shame on me, right? So I don't have the magic answer,
Yeah.
but we're going to keep trying every way possible.
Well, and I know you're a big believer in the Chiefs Mess and the power of the Chiefs Mess. And I know you're going to be out and about a lot. You're going to be, you're going to get out and visit with the messes and all. Can you talk a little bit about, how you feel about the importance of the Chiefs Mess and how the Chiefs, their role in being able to get the why and understand the why and communication, utilizing, your badge network, your rating force master chiefs, your chiefs of the messes, and all that. Talk a little bit about the Chiefs Mess and how you feel about the Chiefs Mess. And a lot of the chiefs that I've had the privilege of serving with and messes I've been part of, they know very well that my standard answer to any flag I've ever served is, we got it. The Chiefs Mess have it. The Chiefs are the linchpin. We are the keepers of the culture. And my number one obligation to the Chiefs Mess is to arm the Chiefs Mess with those facts, with that information. Sometimes it may be a good news story, it may not be a good news story, but I arm them with the information because I'm one person saying something. And I've always said there's nothing that on my own I can accomplish. I can't. But you give me a room full of 10 chiefs and I'll take on the world. And that's how we're going to have to get to that is if I'm traveling, you probably know this, the third class may not come up to you and say, hey, Master Chief Vanderhayden, why don't we try this comms method? They may tell their chief. Right.
Or they may have they just don't know they don't understand something in a policy, and they may not ask us, but they're going to ask their chief.
Yep.
And so it's going to be a constant drive to empower the chiefs with the information they need, because we own the culture as a Chiefs Mess collectively.
I love it. And I'm excited because I know you are easy to talk to. You care a lot about the Chiefs Mess, and you will make sure that the Chiefs have all the information they need so they can best take care of their people. One thing I get a lot of questions about going forward, as I go out and about and talk to folks, is more leadership training. What's your thoughts? Obviously, there's money, there's time, there's availability, all those things. There's a lot of factors. It's not as easy as just saying we need more leadership training. But what is your stance on how we deliver leadership training and what do you see the future? If you, in a perfect world where you could call all the shots, what does your vision look like?
Well, so I'm getting ready now to walk into the third office that you've had before me, and I haven't found the money safe yet. So either you've done a really good,
it with me.
Yeah, either you take it with you, you keep doing a good job of hiding. So maybe it's upstairs, Carol. You can help me find it up there, right? But it wasn't in PAC area, and it's not in the DCMS office. But this is actually, and I appreciate this because it's kind of a chance to, I think people are starting to hear the term modernized ready learning.
Yep.
And my fear is that people are getting a very narrow scope of, that means everything's going online and we're never going to have C schools and things like that. That is not what modernized ready learning is. Modernized ready learning is, the concept in of itself is about being able to deliver the right training at the right time, on target to the right person. An example of modernized ready learning, and I'll get to the leadership thing, but if we've got a Wimsel out and they were planning on an East Pack patrol and we've spun them up and got them prepared for that, then midway through, due to something, boom, now they've got to go to the Bering Sea. That requires a different skill set. Modernized Ready Learning would enable us to get that training to them in several formats. Just kind of my philosophy on it is there are things, and in my world, my brain, it makes sense, but I think of the sciences and the arts. The science, the math, 2 + 2. That's when we are training you with the piece of knowledge. We're going to test you, can you retain the knowledge? That can be done anywhere in an online format at your home unit or at your home. The art piece, the soft skills, the leadership, the flying a helicopter, being a surfman. Those are things that require a certain specific hands-on training set, and that's where we're going to have to continue, under the more traditional training format. But in those, how do we take that blended approach? Both our good friend Glenn Royce out at Chiefs Academy. Glenn and I went through Chiefs Academy together in 2004.
Oh, wow. So
we've had Chiefs Academy conversations for a long, long time. He called me the other day and he goes, "You ready?" I'm like, "Oh, I got to remember what we talked about." So the easy answer is to always put more and more and more on them. But so how do we look at the curriculum as a whole and say, where can we do a blended approach? If we're saying we want to add this, can that be something that's done online before you arrive, so that when you're in Petaluma, we can focus on the things that require that? So, and I get asked a lot, well, the Air Force can do this and the Navy can do this, and I'm envious of a lot of what they can do. Then I'm also aware of some of the constraints we have. So I think it's just trying to find. Admiral Fagan always said this during COVID when we were at Pac Area. What do we look like after COVID? The only wrong answer is just like we did before COVID.
Sure.
That's the only wrong answer. What that right answer is, I think, is where we have to dive into those worlds and figure out those appropriate ways to deliver it.
Got it. Great. Thank you. So, going back to the Chiefs mess, one of the things that we do as Chiefs is we do CCTI. Every time the MCPOG comes in, there's a little bit of a change to CCTI. I didn't change much from what Master Chief Cantrell did, other than I brought costumes, but the ability to wear costumes for the PCPOs. Is there anything that you want to do with CCTI? I mean, there's a lot to it now. It's an in-depth process. Do you see is there anything you think you might want to do?
So it's funny, right before coming here, I got to meet with the base NCR region PCPOs, who their CCTIs are, and one of them asked me that exact question. The short answer is no. There's nothing on the immediate. There's nothing that I've been saying, oh, if it's ever me, I'm going to do this. Number one, I feel like I've failed the entire Chiefs Corps if I've been sitting on something and haven't brought that up to you for the last 4 years. But there's no immediate changes. I think with every regime turnover, we're going to take a look at all the standing orders, but I think that's just a natural thing. But when it comes to the CCTI in particular, I think it's a pretty dang good process.
Yeah.
And I think that we're really and I just told this group this, we're only limited by our imaginations. They have a lot of leeway to put on an amazing CCTI that fits the area and the region they are, and I don't want to hamper that.
Sure.
So, yeah.
No, the Navy does it all year, and I don't think that the Coast Guard can do that, and I wouldn't. To be honest with you, I wouldn't really want to have a year-long process like that. I think, I like you, I just minor little things that but I'm glad that you were a fan of the process, and it's good. I knew that already.
Well, we were because Admiral Thomas was with me. We were talking to him, and he was sharing about when he was an ensign, because we had a couple of JOs in the room with us, and what the process looked like then. Mm-hmm. And then I shared kind of what the process looked like, and I was kind of in the middle of some of the tweaking, and we both looked at him and said, "It's a solid process. It really is."
Yeah, it is. I agree. There's whenever we have a leadership change, basically every 4 years, we get a kind of a fresh energy in the workforce, because it's an opportunity to kind of take that next step, and I'm excited, for me, because it is that energy, and I can feel it. I can feel the energy on the new team. I've had a chance to preview a little bit of the work that you guys are doing. There's an opportunity here because everybody is like, yes, let's get after some things, and we really want to capitalize on that new kind of thoughts and everything. Is there anything kind of, and I'm not trying to sign you up for anything, but is there anything that you want to kind of just say, hey, yeah, this is the one or two things that I think we might start working on right away, or anything like that?
No, that's a great question, and thank you for joining us yesterday morning as we kind of had the respective leadership team in there. And great to hear from those of you that are departing the service,
Sure.
And to see that it truly is a continuation. It's not a change. It's a continuation, and I feel that. That's the great thing. So just kind of just at a high level is, you look back over the past two leadership teams with yourself and Admiral Schultz and Master Chief Cantrell and Admiral Zacomte. Man, what an amazing job y'all did on investing in our ships and our aircraft. I mean, Admiral Schultz says this all the time. We are in the middle of the largest shipbuilding push in Coast Guard history. So that work is just amazing. The readiness narrative that Admiral Schultz has used for the last 4 years has absolutely paid tremendous dividends. And so while we're in a really good shape going forward for steel, be it floating and flying,
sure.
Kind of the two areas where we need to start pushing so that teams down the road can see will be on the talent management side and on the shore infrastructure side.
Yeah.
So I think you're going to see a lot of focus in those two areas, continuing on this amazing work y'all have done with the steel.
No, I agree that getting the people into the Coast Guard, we our recruiters are working really hard. There's a lot of opportunity there on that talent management side of the house, and to get after some of the people stuff a little bit more. COVID, I'm not blaming COVID, but COVID made everything a little bit harder. So excited to hopefully put that behind us, or at least start put that behind us, and then I'm excited to see what you guys do. I know there's a lot of energy about taking care of people and quality of life, and getting the right people in. I am just really excited about that.
Well, and you made a comment yesterday in the room, talking about the readiness piece and how readiness is a continuous journey.
Yeah.
We're never going to wake up one morning and go, okay, we're ready enough. It's a continuous journey, and resiliency is that piece, is how you sustain readiness, is through resiliency. Yeah. So you're going to see a lot of focus on that.
Yeah, that's great. That is fantastic. And I know nobody cares about people more than you. I'm not just saying that. I know that to be true. Well, is there anything else that we haven't necessarily talked about that maybe you want to talk about? I could tell you, everybody that's listening, Master Chief Jones and I are probably, he's one of the best friends I got. He's really, really fantastic. You can't think of a better person to be the Master Chief Head Officer of the Coast Guard, and he is going to do, amazing work. We have been in lockstep the whole time, ever since he was announced. We have just spent a lot of time together and making sure that I kind of try to give him everything that I know on top of what he already knows. So he's you're in great hands, and I couldn't be happier. But is there anything you want to leave the audience with before you start your own podcast and get going on your own?
I want to reiterate my thank you to you and the current team. For 4 years, I have felt nothing but empowerment from your office, being out in the field, both at a district level and an area level, and here at DCMS. Nothing but empowerment to do what we need to do to get after what our workforce needs. So I thank y'all for that. And you keep hearing us talk about the word continue, continuity. A lot of times it's heard as transformation, things like this, transition.
Transition, yeah.
Yeah, this is truly a continuance of the amazing things that you and your team have worked on. The team that's been a civil on the senior enlisted leadership side, they are fired up. They're excited. we've had a lot of conversations about, like you said, there's a natural momentum that comes with every 4 years. Sustaining the momentum is the challenge that we have ahead of us, and the ground truth that I'm going to need from every woman and man in this service that we meet, the ground truth of are we getting after, or are we chasing a ghost, or are we getting after the right things? I ask that of every person in uniform to please be honest with me. Let me know if we're getting after the right things. Keep us in line, because we want to keep this momentum going. But we're excited. Wide-eyed right now.
Yeah.
You probably know well the feeling that we feel, but we're very excited.
That's great. I'm excited too. Being my last podcast, I want to say thanks out there to everybody who listened, but also I want to thank the Chiefs Mess and the Chiefs Mess leadership. We have never experienced I made chief quite some time ago, and I don't know, perhaps it's always been this way, but to me it feels like the Chiefs Mess is got a voice that's being listened to. We're asked, we're consulted, and we're valued, and it feels like senior leadership really is very interested in what the Chiefs think about things and their perspective. We have a very professional Chiefs Mess. I'm very proud of all the folks in the Chiefs Mess. And then, as I travel around and I meet young folks, I can't believe the talent that is the future Chiefs. There, it is amazing. And so, thank you. I wanted to say thank you to everybody. As Master Chief Jones said, the ground truth. I felt like people were, were comfortable telling me what was on their mind. And I want you to know that the best ideas on how to take care of people and improve quality of life don't come from headquarters. They come from the field, and then they come to headquarters, and then the very hardworking, dedicated professionals that work here at headquarters for their tour try to make it happen. They work together to try to provide the best policies, the best processes, and take care of people. So, as a just my last opportunity to say thank you to everybody for all the help that you've given me to help me do my job better. I am very excited. I hope everybody stays in the Coast Guard, and I know that I tell you, this next team, the leadership team is amazing. They are going to take care of you. They're brilliant. They're caring. It's just we're in a really good place. And lastly, I want to thank Chief Neen. So we wouldn't have the 1MC podcast if it wasn't for Chief Neen. She has put this together. It was her idea. She did all the legwork. She kind of got all the equipment, and she does all the editing. There's a lot of things that you don't hear. I curse a lot, and she edits all that. I'm just kidding. She edits all that out. But she is fantastic, and so my last thank you is to you, Chief Neen. You're amazing.
Thank you, Master Chief. It was my pleasure. I loved it.
All right. So, Semper Paratus, everybody.